look at very slow advance, frame advance. See how this speeds up toward the end of the backswing, look. See how quickly that's moving there, and then it's all happening all in one go. It's great until the cue comes here, but then as soon as it comes further back, whoop. Now watch what's happening to the fingers. They're opening up nicely. And what's happening is the cue is moving forward before the fingers have a chance to start closing around the cue. Just have a look here. So the fingers open up very nicely toward the end of the backswing, which is coming right up. But before they have a chance to start gently closing around the cue, the cue's already on its way. It's all happening in a rush. And that in turn leads to tension in the upper body and the cueing arm, etc., etc. That's it, moving the cue nicely, well done. But still very quick start on the delivery. Now, so there, you can see the quality of movement is slightly different. That if we go back to the beginning of the backswing here, and okay, so watch carefully the speed of build-up of the backswing, slowly then moving to the normal backswing speed, then slowing it down to a stop, then changing gear, then very slowly starting the movement again. And that causes the upper half of the body to remain much more stable, you see. Let's have another look at this from this angle. Nice follow-through position in the chest, that's great, yeah. And the first finger opens up nicely. In other words, with Terry and myself, this first finger here is slightly opening away from the second finger. Perhaps a little bit tight there. I think if I was actually using the 360, this is my cue, if I was using the 360 I'd probably be lighter there on my hand, to be honest with you. Looking back, I think I'm a bit lighter when I use the 360 than when I use my normal cue. Let's go half speed on this and see what happens. There you go, yes, well in fact I was correct. Look how much extra that has actually broken there away from the second finger now that I'm using the 360 pure cue, which forces, and actually you can see here there's less tension in the fingers there than if we go back. Let's go back to when I was using my cue. See that following through and holding in the chest there. You see the cue is, unlike with Terry, whose hand was pushing out to the right hand side, on the delivery, if that's the line of aim there, let's see where the cue actually finishes in the chest. Yeah, so it remains on the line of aim. It doesn't allow, the hand doesn't allow itself to get bullied by the chest outside the line of aim. But as you can see, there's a bit of white tension here on the fingers, and the first finger is closer to the second finger, which shows a little bit more tension than when I'm using the 360. So now using the 360, changing over. In fact, I'm just thinking there if I open this thumb up and have it pointing straight down like Rex Williams or Stephen Hendry, it may allow actually this first finger to move closer up the cue, because wouldn't it appear to be more natural if you see this first finger is more or less 90 degrees to the cue, isn't it? But look at this finger, it's about 60 degrees to the cue, so it's almost, the hand's almost twisted around the cue, isn't it? But if that thumb was not actually in contact with the cue at all, or in contact with the fingers, it's almost as if then I think those fingers might have, and that's something I'm going to practice actually, I'm going to write that down. Fingers 90 degrees to cue, question mark. So I'm going to put that in my cue case and practice that, just have a think about that the next time I go to the club. First time I've ever seen this angle of camera on my own game, so that's quite interesting. And then I suppose in that way, if those fingers ended up feeling more comfortable at 90 degrees to the shaft of the cue to the line of aim, then the thumb would be guided by where the fingers are, rather than now it seems as though the fingers are almost a little bit squashed by the thumb, aren't they, somewhat? Anyway, I can only tell when I actually go there. I might feel uncomfortable doing anything else, but and out of control doing anything else, but it's I'm going to try that and see what happens. If anything, it will give me a bit of extra flexibility in my approach and a bit of extra cue control. Gradual build up of speed here. And then in the second half of the delivery, the power comes into the shot. First half of the delivery is gradually building up the speed only. This is slow motion, same thing. Again, lower light because it's faster frame rate per second. And at the end of the backswing, it should be slowing down more slowly. There you go. Watch how slowly that's coming to a halt. Very, very gradually. Very gradually. Otherwise there's too much tension involved. And then a very gradual build up of speed. Look at the distance on each frame. Yeah, now look at that. That's very interesting. I'm glad I did this in slow motion, because that, allied with this software's quarter speed delivery, is and I wonder if we've got one of Terry like this. So, right, that's the first frame, okay. Right. 1, 2, 3 frames, 4 frames, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 frames. In other words, that's probably maybe a tenth of a second. 10 frames to reach there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.